Hey, it's Doug here. This is the live Q&A on Friday. And of course, I'm live now. I see we have a few people on. Welcome. Let me know where you're from. Let me know if you can hear me. I think people can hear me. So that's good. And got a couple things, quick announcements to make. And hopefully people will start saying, yeah, there we go. Subum, eating lunch. Haven't seen you in around. Is it Mark? Is that right? And then Mud Brats, what's going on? Hopefully some more people will filter in. If any of you guys and gals have the opportunity to share, that'll be great. I didn't really share this stuff around anywhere. So a couple things. Oh, Tal's on, P&G, Michael from the Ukraine. All right, cool. Yeah, people are filtering on. That's outstanding. All right. So a couple things. I do have a frequently asked questions page now on Niche Site Project. They're actually listed at the bottom of this description here. So you can see exactly what questions are on there. And for the other people in the chat and folks that come to these often, feel free if someone asked a question that is indeed already answered in the frequently asked questions, feel free to, paste that, direct them to it, save me a little time. And then we got Bynum, Natish, Rafat, Pramesh, Steven, what's up? And then we have Duke, Jaron, awesome. We got Pete, Jarrett, Fitness for You, Marcus, awesome. Good to have the moderators on. Those are the people in blue. Thanks for keeping order in the chat. So a couple quick things. Number one, I'll tell you about some of the changes here. So in the description, there's a few questions that I'm going to get to. Some people sent in questions just via email. I sort of put them together and I'll answer them. One cool thing is I've been experimenting with Grammarly. So actually, when I wrote the FAQ section, I was able to churn it out a little bit faster because I was using Grammarly. Now, I had used Grammarly, funny enough, like a few years ago, and I noticed that it was like pretty buggy. So when I would try and use it, it's funny. I misspelled Grammarly in the description, just fix that. So when I used Grammarly a couple of years ago, it was really buggy. So I would try and type something and then like the cursor would jump around and it drove me crazy because it just wasn't working well. So I decided to give it another test to see if they fixed it. And sure enough, it works really well. And you can use the free version, right? The free version is really good. It'll correct like really common mistakes. So I tested that for a while, for like a month or so. And then after it was like working well, I decided to pay for the premium version, which is not required, but it'll give you more options. It'll help you correct more advanced things. So I highly recommend it. If you're trying to improve your writing, I would definitely check it out. Additionally, the big thing, and people ask this all the time, how do you check to make sure your writers that you hire are not copying the work and you make sure that it's unique? Well, Grammarly, the premium version, has a plagiarism checker. So it'll actually do a really good job and check things. So for example, I was working on a piece of content yesterday where I have certain pieces that I've used in YouTube descriptions and some places on Niche Site Project. And it identified it. I was like, hey, that's my YouTube video. And it was just a phrase. It was like 0.5% of, usage, but really powerful. And I went ahead and paid for like a full year for Grammarly. So if you're looking to improve your writing and I'm an affiliate, by the way, it's listed clearly in the description, all the links that are affiliate links, it's in this section. So I get a commission, but I can tell you it's highly worth it. And, I tested it for a while. All right, cool. So that's the big difference in going through the couple questions that we have. Let's see, I'm gonna hop back over to the live section here since you folks are kind enough to join. By the way, if you enjoy these Please give a thumbs up, leave a comment later. If you're watching it later, leave a comment, say, hey, I watched it later. I like them. Or if you have suggestions, like some people tell me the videos are too long and I need to talk faster and do more, but there's only so much I can do. All right, hiking gears on. And let's see. Duke says you've been experimenting with Grammarly and you've been seeing some interesting results. Cool. And I think, oh, Pete says he finished Cobra Kai. If you're not watching Cobra Kai on YouTube Red, it's really good. If you're a Karate Kid fan or if you just like to have a good time, highly recommend it. We watched it in like 3 days. So, all right, we'll get to some questions here. Michael says, can I use affiliate links on social media, promo links, and Facebook ads? You should double check, but yeah, I think you can. There's some specific rules you'll have to follow. So I would definitely um, check with whatever affiliate program that you're working with and make sure that it's okay, that you're using it in a certain way. So you don't get in trouble for it. Additionally, depending on what it is, you may or may not be able to like use those affiliate links on Facebook ads or in general on Facebook. Facebook has tighter rules. All right. All right. And Shivam says you have Grammarly, Ahrefs, SEMrush, Moz, all for $20 a month. Sounds like you're doing something illegal. So I don't recommend doing whatever Shivam is doing. Not cool. So I would recommend don't do that. And Steven says some of your writers use Grammarly. And I think I'm probably going to implement that because, I noticed a couple, sometimes it's like the context. So it's a word which is not misspelled, but it's used in the wrong like context. So it'll point that out where normal spell check, you wouldn't find it. Okay, and hope I'm catching up in the chat, but if Sivam, I suggest you don't propagate whatever illegal thing you're doing there. That's stealing and not cool. So if you share something, unfortunately I'll kick you off the chat here. So nothing personal, but that's not good to take stuff. All right. Adrian's on. What's up? Mark says, do I have any plans to promote 5-figure niche site through affiliates? I have a few affiliates, just personal friends that I know. So it's something that's out there, but working with affiliates, I want to make sure it's like the right people and a good fit. And a lot of people have actually approached me and they may or may not have like, something that I support. Like maybe I don't like what they're doing. And then I would tell them no. So sometimes. All right. Next we have Tisma. What's up? Mudbrat says, what do I think of using Search Azon plugin? I don't know. I haven't heard of that plugin, so I don't have an opinion on it. And Michael, you said something about Amazon. Okay, so it's Amazon. I think you just said affiliate links up there, but you're saying Amazon. So I would check with Amazon to make sure the way you're running the ads is okay. And I would suggest you have to be like really good at running ads to make that work in a profitable way. Okay, Jesse says, how do I feel about building Facebook communities for affiliate websites? I think it's kind of a waste of time personally. So I wouldn't spend any time. I would spend zero time on that. And fitness, excellent point. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. So Fitness for You says it's very tough to get free traffic from Facebook these days. Agree with that. All right, we got some good questions coming through. So I'm going to try and catch up. Okay, Duke says, "Can I give your top 3 tasks that I do on affiliate sites in regards to ROI?" Okay, so honestly, I'm bad at like really quantifying the ROI in a good way. There's certain things where I'm like, I don't know how well this is going to work, but I can see a little traction in the beginning, and then I'll like accelerate it and do more. Now the thing is, I don't measure it well, and that's the big issue. All right, sorry, I'm just adjusting the curtain here. Okay, that's better. So adding more posts, like just adding more posts in general, really good thing to do, especially if it's like buyers keywords. Now, sometimes you may have to true it up if you have too much buyers content, too much affiliate content. So that's really good. The other is adding content to existing posts. Now, I'm just starting to do some of this in the last little stretch here. So I don't share everything that I'm doing right away because I don't know the outcome yet. I like to share case studies after the fact, after I'm really certain that things are working. For example, the publishing 200 keyword golden ratio post, or what was some of the other ones, or the keyword golden ratio in general. So I like to make sure things are really like repeatable. So I'm adding more content and improving content, which I've talked about for a while, but I'm really like focusing down on certain posts in a certain way to see like, is that the best way to add more content, and what happens if I do. Now the theory is I'm going to get more traffic. And then the third thing, let's see, I would say networking. So not necessarily like link building or outreach, but like networking. You may get guest posts or links out of that. But I know that, if you go into a niche and you do roundups, and you maybe try and find people that are not like your competitors, but that are related industries. So maybe you find a bunch of YouTube channels, and you find some podcasts where maybe they don't have much going on as in the way of a blog, but they have the right audience. Like, you're not going to be direct competitors. You should be able to like do roundups, interact with them, potentially get your site mentioned on their channels, right? So networking could be a valuable thing to do. All right. Okay, I'm going to try and blast through some questions because I'm getting a little behind, and then I'm going to go over to the questions that were sent in. All right. So next, okay, Refat says, I found some keywords where Amazon and eBay are on the first page of the results, and a few other e-commerce sites. Should I go for it? Maybe. If you see some affiliate sites on there too, it's probably okay. But if you see like the majority are e-commerce type sites, maybe I would ignore it. Okay. Jarrett says, I have a long question. For keyword targeting, let's say there are 3 keywords, and what's the best way to title the article? Pick one and mention the others in the article, or combine them. So the best way to do it, well, there's no like right answer because it varies between keywords. So I would suggest just picking one. Just pick one, and probably Google is going to treat those mostly equivalent. Although my thought would be toddlers and infants are different, right? So there's a clear difference there, but just pick one and then publish it, see what happens, and then you could adjust from there. And Bynum says it's not necessarily illegal. He could do a group buy. Cool. Yeah, you know what? You're right. It's not necessarily illegal, but group buys would probably get you banned from like the company, right? So if I saw someone that did a group buy on my course, I would probably like kick them off the email list and like ban them from buying any of my products again. So maybe it's not like the person couldn't go to jail or something, but it is stealing in a way. Like, you're not supposed to do group buys, right? Okay. And Subham says, due to some mistakes, you got 1,000 backlinks from one individual site. Is it fine for your site, or should you remove them? Depends on the site. If it's a bad site, remove them. If it's not, it probably doesn't matter. And yeah, you got to look at it that way. Jill's on. What's up? Alwyn says, do I use ads on my site? Not usually, no. Okay, Tal says, I'm struggling to work on your site at the moment. You have half a finished article written, but no drive to do anything. Any tips for breaking out of a funk? Good question. So I'm reading this book called, I read like productivity books and stuff. So I'm reading this book called When, Daniel Pink. Pretty good. Got it from the library. If If you guys aren't going to the library, it's a good place to get books for free, so you can just read them. Um, I would say, since I'm just reading that book, I would like try to, if you're a morning person, I would maybe try to make sure you're working on it like when you have the most energy to do that type of work. So for a lot of people, it's the morning. Some people, they work better at night. So I would like, make sure you're working on it at the right time. And then the other part, sometimes it's good to take a break. I have taken a little bit of a break from YouTube a little bit. Not, I mean, I did a lot of work ahead of time so that I could take a little bit of a break. But sometimes taking a break is good so that you'll have a fresh perspective. And then the other part is to just, from a bigger scale, Tal, like a higher level, just like, why do you even want to work on the site? Like, if you could remember like your main goal, why you're doing something, spending more time with family and friends, then maybe it can get you a little more motivated. But sometimes you just have to take a break to sort of have a new perspective on things. Hope that helps. Um, all right. Mudbrat says, you found a KGR phrase and you wrote a blog on your affiliate store. How do you check whether the article is ranking on Google? Yeah, you could just search it. All right, I'm going to go to some of the questions in the chat, and thanks, Duke, for keeping order over there. All right, Joseph, this is from a couple weeks ago, but I didn't go deep into it. So Joseph asks, this is a long question, but it was like a couple hundred words, but then I summarized it into, how do you deal with keyword cannibalization? So that's where, for example, you publish a few posts, they have some similar keywords perhaps, and the wrong post is ranking, right? You're targeting a certain keyword for a certain post, and another post is ranking instead for that keyword. So Google doesn't understand which one to rank. You can do a few things, right? So you can combine the content, and then 301 redirect so that you have like all the same content, all the same, authority going to that URL. That's usually how I handle it. And Joseph's question really went into, should I publish long form content with a bunch of different sort of like subsets of a specific keyword, or should I publish individual posts? And it's really, there's no right answer. I usually go into the like separate post and then adjust from there. But really, like I said before, every keyword's a little bit different. Every niche is a little bit different. So you can't necessarily make an assumption. You're better off not trying to like analyze it too much. Just pick a method, publish it, see what happens after 2 to 4 months, and then adjust from there. That's what you should do. Jermaine asks, how many words should I have per section for the perfect Amazon review? And I think Jermaine was watching one of the older videos, maybe the coaching videos that I had, and he was looking for a specific template where I had like each one of the sections for the perfect Amazon review, with a certain number of words. I don't have that available anymore right now. So that specific template. Now, the thing is, you can get the perfect Amazon review, but you could do it yourself, right? So Jermaine, you were asking like, what do I do exactly? What I do exactly doesn't really matter, right? You shouldn't try and do exactly what I'm doing because honestly, it's probably not going to work for you. But what you could do, and I'm just going to sketch this out and then I'm going to hold up the piece of paper. But you could just kind of make it up on your own. And I think I picked up a pen that's running out of ink. So you'll have like an intro section, and then maybe you'll have a table, and then what else do we have on the perfect Amazon review? You have like features, and then we'll list like 3 features, and then mini reviews. Hopefully we could read this. So you'll have these different sections, right? The intro, you'll have a table, maybe. You don't have to have a table. You could have the features, different features you may list, and then the mini reviews. So what you can do is basically whatever you want. So let's say you want to have, and I'm just going to make it up. You could write this down if you want to, Jermaine. So 150 words for the intro. Table doesn't count. We're just going to leave that out. So for each of the features, we'll say 300 words. And then for each of the mini reviews, we'll say 500 words. And I didn't mention the conclusion, but obviously you could do the same thing. So it really actually doesn't matter. I would suggest you just make something up and then see how it works. That's exactly what I do. I think the more people listen to the stuff that I do, it's basically, I have an idea, I will try it and then see what happens and then adjust from there. So if it turns out that turns out to be like a bad article, like a poor length, or maybe the writers do a bad job, I'll analyze why. But basically, Jermaine, you can make your own. It doesn't really matter. Okay. Next. All right. And I see a few questions coming in the chat, but I'm going to try and catch up here. This 2 questions were sent in by Aaron. I have a niche that tends to have updated products. There's 30 different pages, approximately 90 to 100 descriptions. But should I update these when new products are released? You feel like it's bogging you down if you do more? The answer is yes. You should update them, or the content's going to be out of date, and then users are not going to learn from your site, and you're not going to be delivering the value. So yes, update it. That's an easy one. Similar to above, in my niche, there are a few dominant products that do well for a variety of purposes, like Product-XYZ fits the bill for 5 of the pages based on the respective keyword. Do you describe the product in 5 different ways? Yes. The answer is yes. Aaron, you would do that, and you would focus on like the usage or the type of user, or there's a reason why those respective keywords are different and they're not all like synonyms. So you should be able to like sort of tailor it directly for that usage. All right. Next, I'm going to go back to the chat, and Pramesh says, how do you add value except sharing content on social media to get a guest post? So you can do a lot of things. I'll just name a few. You can link to their site. Maybe I mentioned podcasts before. All right. So maybe you can find your like 10 podcasts in the niche or something related and do a roundup, write 100 words about each one of them and put a link out to them. Give them a shout, let them know, share it on social media. Maybe they'll share it for you. And here you've just, done something pretty much easy and almost free. I mean, you could write it yourself probably pretty quickly. And then that's a good way to do it. Additionally, I think just reading someone's blog post, if you're talking blogs, and then leaving a comment is big because a lot of people don't leave comments. So if you can add value by doing that, that's a great way to do it. And I think if you just start in those couple areas, that would go a long way. Right. And I'm trying to get through here. Thanks, Duke, for taking care of things. All right. Tammy says, if you have an article and in that article you're linking to a WooZone page, does that help your SEO as opposed to linking directly to the Amazon product from the article? Okay. So I'm not sure. I don't use WooZone anything. So I'm going to try and reason my way. Does it help your SEO as opposed to linking directly to the Amazon page? Potentially. There's potentially a small amount of, SEO that you may be like good, like link juice authority you're passing to the WooZone page. However, I would ask you, Tammy, wouldn't it be better to have someone go to Amazon sooner, right? That's your real goal. So if you were able to get someone on your site, on your page, interested in a product, you should get them over to Amazon as soon as possible. versus like trying to get them to go to another page on your site. Now, it doesn't mean that you couldn't have the link in the article going to the WooZone page and have an affiliate link. So you could do that. Lack. Hey, what steps should I take to help my site break the 6-figure mark? Okay, so Echo, I recommend I do one-on-one coaching. So if you're getting close to the 6-figure mark, you obviously can probably afford to invest in coaching. So recommend you check that out. I think some people on the chat may have done some coaching with me. And basically, I mean, most things are going to break down into like 2 main areas. It's going to be like optimizing your content, adding to it, looking for any holes that you may have, and then potentially adding more content. Additionally, you may look at the link building and SEO aspect. But in most cases, like if you're close to the 6-figure mark, you're probably doing well on the SEO side. So it could be like capitalizing on like that more. Alwayne says, how will a product company link to my site if they only have a static page with no blog post? How will they link? You're a bit confused. I feel like I'm coming into like the middle of a conversation, but if they don't have, if they have like no mechanism to link out, then they're probably not going to. So you could say, hey, do you want to have a little like featured on section? I found a couple places where you're featured. Here's one of them. And then you can try and convince them. But I would say if they don't have like a blog or any kind of, much activity, you should probably just, avoid that. All right. Next, Riyadh says you choose a niche and you wrote 8 articles, but after you chose it, you found it seasonal. Can you continue? Yes, you can. You'll just have to remember that it's seasonal. David asked a great question. Have I considered separating my videos into smaller bites? Most of the time they're too long and require a big time commitment. Sort of. I looked at doing this, and one of my friends helped me out, like editing some of them down. These Q&A sessions are just a fucking mess, to be honest with you. So really hard, really expensive to like edit these down. I do have a bunch of other videos, and I've tried to make them shorter. David, have you seen them where I'm just like, it's not live? When I have a live chat, it's like working with a live studio audience, right? Like I have to, make sure I'm doing what I need to do. And then it makes it very scattered. And it's very back and forth. And I think some people like that. In fact, I know a lot of people do like that. The shorter videos, really great idea. Making these smaller would be cool, but I don't have the, like, who's a great example. Gary Vee does a really good job on this, but he also has like a team of several people that like watch all of his content and they're able to like re-edit it. And I'm like, that's great. It'd be great to repurpose it like that, but I have to do it on a much smaller scale. I make basically no money from YouTube. So it's all like just free content, trying to get you to like me. But I think that's a great suggestion, David. If you have any ideas, feel free to, throw more out. Okay, Duke says, have I compared the results of outreach guest post I acquire from reaching out to a website, yourself versus a reputable company who does the outreach and post for you? No, I have not. A friend of mine did. She was trying to do a case study on, outreach, and she tested some of the big ones. And in general, she said, some of the links looked actually pretty good from like real bloggers, and it looked like actual outreach, about half, like 50%, right? And then the other half looked like they were sort of like content farms where they published like 30 articles a day. Like they just publish tons and tons of stuff endlessly. They have good metrics. And if you go and look at their metrics, a lot of times what you'll see is they're boosted up with some weird links. So, that tells me that there's some good stuff and some bad stuff. Now, as far as doing, the problem is with the reputable companies, If they're reputable companies, it's probably good, but that also means it's probably really expensive. So I'm not sure. I don't know, Duke. Have you, by the way? And Duke, what's your three things that you do for a good ROI? Vanish says you just started an affiliate site. You sorted a few low comp keywords, but you don't know the first step after publishing content. Should I go for backlinks first or the next post? Okay. Um, you should post like 10 pieces of content first. So work on the first 10 and then you can start looking at promoting and doing outreach. Okay, I'm going to hop back over to the questions, a couple more that were sent in. By the way, if you're new, definitely check out the FAQ section. It's very good. It's very long and they're common questions. All right. Leo says, I'm new to internet marketing and I've listened to a lot of information. Finally, it seems like I found some, quote, good content that is helpful and practical. And just recently found your KGR template. It's a strange concern and none of my business. However, if everyone starts to use this method, will it still be effective? I know it could bring great financial rewards to you personally in the short term. And by the way, I'm going to correct Leo here. As I mentioned, I don't monetize my channel, although I may turn it on just because, you know, a lot of people watch the videos and I'm doing this for free, basically. So the KGR, me telling it to people was probably like the worst financial decision I could do because it does bring more competition. You're right. However, my thought is, if you understand the long tail of, and I know Leo's new, but if you understand the long tail of like keywords and how searches are, like there's new searches every day, there's new products all the time, and there's more KGRs all the time because of that. I'm not sure how like voice search and that sort of thing is going to change things, but further, right? Leah says, but if it stops working, it's pointless. I truly feel to be successful in the business, one has to find their own angle to ranking and traffic. Any comments are appreciated. So my thought is it's, it's information. It wants to be free. And I'm like giving it out like a fire hose, right? So I'm trying to get people to like me and give valuable information. And there's like dozens of people in the chat who have used the KGR and I've published stories. Definitely works. And I've been talking about it for a couple years. Will there be a point where it's less effective? Potentially. But my thought is there's more keywords all the time. Now, maybe the level of, the minimum level to get started, and maybe it's not going to be 1,000 words anymore. Maybe it's going to be 2,000 words. Maybe you'll have to find low competition and deliver really good quality. Because I've seen some really garbage sites that basically should probably not be ranking, but they did really good keyword research, so they're ranking. All right. So Leo, hope that answers your question. Thanks for the concern. And again, to clarify, there are no financial rewards for me sharing the KGR. 0. All right. Next. All right. We got Sabtan says, question about a KGR. You search buyers keywords below 0.25. Should you check the keyword difficulty? Only if you want to, because many keywords have strong DA websites and the keyword difficulty 40. What tool are you using? Depending on the tool, I would potentially use the difficulty to sort it and prioritize. However, you should probably check to see like what kind of sites are ranking. Zach says, all right, Zach, how are you doing? Good to have you on. Just had a success writing a post about a small charity org like Dave Fox mentioned. They'll backlink and share it on social media. Is there a limit on how many of those you would do? Probably not. I would say if you get close to like 50 or so, at that point, maybe, make sure you have like diversity in your links. But it's really cool that you're able to knock that out already. All right. New Hamp says you started your site in February. You made $100 last month and you're on track for 200. Congratulations. That's fantastic. Are you using the keyword golden ratio? Pramesh says you have 30 posts on your site. You have 30 more keywords and your site's a month old. Now what should I create backlinks for existing posts or publish more content? I would create backlinks, but it's hard to say with the amount of information you gave. All right. New Hamp says, do I think you'll see an increase of traffic, or should you just pour everything into making new KGR articles and cross your fingers for the other content? I would, hard to say, again, without much more information. It's hard to say. Again, I do like a little bit of one-on-one coaching. So if you actually need answers to the questions, which, it's not cheap to get coaching. I charge $247 for an hour. However, you get an action plan out of it. Will probably take you a few months to execute the action plan. And if you do the work, you're probably going to end up in a much better spot. It's expensive, but you get exact answers to your exact questions where I could audit your site. So your question is, should you just publish a bunch of new KGR articles? Probably, maybe. Depends on how much content you have and how many backlinks you have. I would probably try and do at least some networking. As I mentioned before, Zach says, he tested out the charity outreach to organizations and was quickly able to land a link. So I would maybe look at that. All right. Pratt Mesh says, while blog commenting, what did you put in the website section? The homepage. New Hamp, you notice that most of your traffic is coming from 1 or 2 blog posts. That's normal. Okay. You have 34 posts. Cool. Nice. And we see next we have 30. Okay. So you said you have 34 posts. I would potentially, New Hamp, go ahead and look at getting some backlinks for sure. And I would most likely focus on that for a month or two and then start adding. I expect you have more and more KGR terms. So I would keep going for that. And I like to do sprints of work where it's add content and then add your links and then go back. It's good for me to have a break working on stuff just in general. So, all right. And let me see if there's any more questions. By the way, if you're joining late, give a thumbs up if you do enjoy the videos. And then additionally, I mentioned I'm using Grammarly. Duke mentioned that he's using Grammarly more and more. Seems to be doing really well here in the last month or two that I've been using it. All right. And let's see. Duke says you're using 2 guest posting companies, Matt Diggity's and another. Cool. And we see Matt does a really good job as far as his other services, and I haven't used his guest posting company or anything like that. All right. Vinesh says, what's my favorite SEO tool, SEMrush or Ahrefs? I like Ahrefs. They have a really good amount of information as far as backlinks and the organic keyword stuff going on. So the thing is with SEMrush, I don't think they have as good of a backlink database, but I like their organic keyword information really well. All right, Duke says 3 things that he does: add more content, site quality tasks like speed, user experience, now grammar, and then content upgrades and optimization. Comparing content with the top 5 Google results. All right. Next, we have. All right. We have a few. And quick note for everyone, please don't share sites on here. It outs people's sites, which is not a good thing. So, Duke, if you see anyone sharing sites with a dot in there, you could go ahead and shut it off. It's not cool to out people's sites. All right. So next we have Pratt Mesh asking, what's the conversion rate for guest posting using 3 comments on a blog and sending emails? So it it depends. I haven't done this in a while, like on a large scale or anything, but it was anywhere from uh like let's see, 3 comments on a blog. It's anywhere between like 20 and 40% depending on what's going on. Okay. Oh, cool. All right. So Duke, excellent. Thanks. And yeah, I'm trying to stay ahead on these. All right. And I think today I'm gonna not necessarily cut it short, but any other questions from like Zach or Duke or any like have a higher level questions? All right. And I think, yep, I got all the ones in the chat. So, okay. So I'm catching back up here. All right. Newham says the KGR video and SEMrush changed the way that you create content. You're welcome. Glad it was helpful. And is it a good idea to use comment love process to get links to your articles? Yes. That seems like a fine way to do it. Zach says you bought a few posts from love to link. Not really impressed with the sites. Probably won't do it again. And I've heard that. I mean, they've been around for a while. And I think, the is big risk is around like when, for example, love to link is all right, Nitish. If messages are deleted, then it's for a reason. So uh, just want to note that and see David. By the way, this is how they get out of hand here. Okay, with the live chats because I have to watch, and then all this business is going on too, and I'm trying to answer questions. All right, so you bought okay. So if love to link, if they're using the same sites over and over again, there's going to be a footprint, and then at some point, like a network will go down. So next, we have David asking, you have a question about Amazon linking. Is it okay to use thirsty affiliates or should we just manually link from Amazon? I am unsure what that is. So I'm not sure. If you want to clarify, let me know. All right. And it looks like we may have to cut this out because I think I'm losing control of the chat here. Even with Duke helping out, people keep sharing sites and such, which is not cool. Okay. So next, all right, I'm going to try and finish the questions that we have here. Okay, Pratmesh says if you have 30 do follow backlinks, you probably need more. Okay, and then Vanish expired domain versus a brand new domain. If you have to ask, I recommend that you use a brand new domain. And without creating backlinks, how long does it take a post to rank? I don't know. Depends on the quality and the keyword competition. And next, Vanish says, when is 5-figure niche site training open for enrollments? If you're interested, you could shoot me an email. I'm working on like an ongoing enrollment. I have been doing the launches, but in general, I'm going to try to if you want in, just shoot me an email and I can get you in. All right. And then David, it looks like this will be the last question here. Um, is okay. So that Pretty Links app, the Thirsty Link or affiliates or whatever, I would recommend that you don't use like anything like that. All right. Cool. So I think we're done here since I'm losing the battle with all the messages in here. All right, cool. It was good. It was a good session, sorta. And we'll catch you next time. Thanks.